Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pie of Genius podcast. My name is Jeff. I'm a business and executive coach. And one of the ways that I help leaders and managers and business owners really amplify their impact is to give them an opportunity to share their story. And I always find it fascinating when you get to hear not just what someone does, but the story and the people behind it. And I'm sure that you will too. So welcome to this episode. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please subscribe and share it with your friends. All right, guys, enjoy the episode. Hi, everyone. I'm at the San Juan County Sheriff's Office, not because I've been arrested, but because I'm actually interviewing Eric Peter, who is the sheriff of San Juan County. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm very grateful to be invited today to this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here. So my first question, what I always ask, is just tell us a little bit about what your organization does, which is the Sheriff's Department. I know we know some of the things you do because we see you driving around and cars, but just tell us a little bit about like what the mission is, what you're about.
Right. Obviously, it's in the name of our profession. We provide law enforcement services. But I'd like to think that the newer vision of an agency that I don't think exists yet is something we're moving towards, which is trying to build relationships with everybody in our community, and trying to let everybody know that they are treated equally across the board and getting the same service from us. Besides law enforcement services, we are the de facto animal control officers for the county. So I thought it was important that when I took office, if we're going to do these investigations, we actually are trained on what to look for and how to conduct the investigations. So we have 3 deputies that in March completed the animal control officer school. It was a 2-week school. So there's one on each island now that serves as our main resource for animal control cases or animal bite cases or any animal cruelty cases, things like that. Okay. We do have 3 boats. So we, besides doing patrols in our boats or transporting people who become involved with the justice system and end up under arrest, we do provide medical transports. We work with EMS and help them when we need to do medical transports. Our brand new boat on San Juan has the ability to have 2 patients on backboards and still hold probably 8 personnel to attend to these patients as we're transporting. Even though we don't have doctorates and we are not counselors, we serve a lot of times as the de facto unofficial counselors with Compass Health when we're dealing with people who are experiencing homelessness or mental health issues. And that's why we do the patrol tactics training. That's one of the reasons we do this patrol tactics training, where we focus on effective communication and de-escalation and how to communicate with people and help them find resources. We assist with some civic programs that are going on in our community and assist with parades and functions that go on in our community. And we maintain the sex offender information on the database, so that everybody in our community is aware of when somebody enters or leaves our community and they are listed as a sex offender. And we also use grant funding to do our marine patrol, which is mostly a boating safety patrol that we do. We don't have the resources here to have a dedicated marine patrol unit that's what they do. But we do utilize the grant money to get out and do safe boating patrols and activity to make sure everybody's safe on the water.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, some of those things I knew and some of those things I didn't. So that's good to hear.
Yes.
So I always ask everyone just to share one simple story that either you or someone in your department really made someone's day, put a smile on someone's face. You think of it like
I'm so happy that these happen more up here than they did in my previous agency in a big city.
Yeah.
So I actually am very happy I get to share more of those. A couple right off the top of my head. I remember one day I was sitting in here as the sergeant, and this lady came in with her 2 children, 2 little girls, and said, hey, she really wants to meet an officer and have her picture taken and she wants to be, an officer when she grows up one day.
Yeah.
So, one of the dispatchers tried to one up me and hand out our little sheriff sticker before I got out there to introduce myself and say hi.
Right.
So I came back with some bracelets and little beanie babies and something to hand out to the kids. And they were so happy. And I remember afterwards, the girls gave me a little hug and they're like, "Oh, we're so happy we got to meet you. You're my best friend." And those kind of moments are special. Those help make up for all of the negativity we see in the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I assume is a lot.
It is, compared to a lot of other professions.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that up here, I don't have the volume of those as you do in larger cities.
Yeah.
And when we try to encourage people to join law enforcement, because I still am a diehard believer that this is a very noble and honorable profession. I try to tell people, I try to point out that you have that opportunity up here. You're not going to see the amounts of negativity that you're going to see in a larger city.
Yeah.
And you feel like you actually make a difference here.
Yeah.
And then another one was our new corrections deputy who lives on Lopez and spent 10 years in federal corrections before he came here, as an employee, not as a
resident.
A resident, yes. He was on the boat, and he has already grasped this connecting with the youth in our community. And I had a lady from California who was visiting that sent an email that said she was so very happy that their kids saw him on the boat, and he went down to his car and got the sheriff stickers and the little positive message wristbands,
right,
and brought them back up, and they were so excited. And it just made their day. And I think it was a month later, and they were still talking about the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Some good stories.
Yeah.
So then, is there anything you'd like to highlight for everybody? Either something that's coming up or something that's already happening now, you just kind of want to focus on that people might be interested in hearing about?
Yeah, I'm very happy that this year we've started doing some of the Coffee with a Cop events to connect with the community and get people out.
One of those,
yeah, just get people out and talk to us. And yes, we may be in uniform, but it's a time just to hang out and talk. If you want to talk about police work, we'll talk about police work. If not, we just wanted to get to know each other. Because I really believe we're not going to understand each other if we don't know each other. Another thing is we just recently I posted it on Facebook, but we just recently had a deputy go through the drug recognition expert course. It's a 3-week course to be able to recognize the signs of people who are under the influence, but it's not alcohol, it's drugs, and help be able to determine what drugs they're on throughout the evaluation process. We also had a deputy just finish last week. I was the only patrol tactics instructor. We have a deputy that is now also a certified patrol tactics instructor, and very happy to have someone new and younger than me.
Right.
I'm not super old, but a little bit older than most of the deputies. I'm glad to have another instructor here to preach the good message of this course that really does focus on de-escalation.
Oh, yeah, that's a follow-up question. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what does that mean, actually? So what is that?
So we talk about de-escalation and communication and emotional intelligence in our job, and how to effectively understand ourselves and how we react to things and understand other people in our community so that we can manage those relationships effectively. And I took this course 3 years ago to become an instructor, and it changed my life. That was the feedback I just got back from the deputy too, that it has changed her life and made her a better person, not just a better officer.
Right. If you don't mind asking, how has it changed? How has it changed you?
So when I was in Houston, I had been on a gang unit, a violent crime unit. I worked in several different divisions as a supervisor. You have high volumes of calls, high volumes of crime, and not enough people to effectively manage it. So you're going there and you're seeing people at their worst, or you're seeing the worst things that are happening, and you don't have time to really sit there and be invested in talking to them, and you just keep going. So you see in the profession, a lot of people get jaded. And for a long time, while I was very effective at what I did, I was not the most pleasant person in the world. And when I talk to cops now, I had an epiphany on how I look at the profession and how I look at life and people about 5 years before I retired. And I thought to myself, there has to be a better way to do this job and to connect with people. And when I talk to officers, I tell them, at any given point, the person we're dealing with right here, no matter what their issue is, I don't know what happened to them from the time they were born until the time they're right here. But these people, they're not problems and they're not issues to just fix or get rid of. They're human beings. They're somebody's family. Mm-hmm. So when I look at a group of cops and I'm talking to them, I say, at any given point, this could be us, and it could be our coworkers, it could be our family, and it was for a while. I'm very proud of my children. Our son was 15 when he came out as gay, and like a lot of young people, struggle, and didn't quite know how to deal with it. And teenagers in general, their emotional intelligence level they don't have the vast knowledge of experience
right.
to draw from, to know how to deal with it right away. But I thought to myself, if one of my children were ever in trouble, I don't want the police officer to show up and treat them rude or without dignity or compassion, And when I ask cops, do you want a law enforcement officer to show up and act like that to your family?
Yeah.
And I've yet to get a hand raised that said, yeah, sure, I'm fine with that.
Right.
They all tend to agree. And that's kind of where that's where I start everything now. All my interactions, no matter how they're reacting to me, I'm going to treat them just like I would like my family to be treated.
Right. Reframing how you see them.
Yes.
Which then affects how you interact with them.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a very powerful shift.
It is.
And when you can interact with somebody that way, that's cool.
It is. And I think people appreciate it. And sometimes when they're in the middle of whatever it is that's going on for them, whether it's mental health issues, whether it's substance use issues, whether it's constant involvement with the justice system, which usually that ends up being several different factors that end up coming together. They're still a human being. And it's our job to treat them like that. It's not our job to react to how someone may be negatively communicating with us. It's our job to put out the customer service that says, see that you're going through a hard time right now. We're here to help. There may be some things we have to do that you're not going to like.
Right.
However, I can still treat you with compassion and dignity throughout the process.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things I'd like to highlight is our agency successfully went through our walkthrough for state accreditation. And state accreditation for a law enforcement agency means that you are living up to this standard of best practices, best procedures, best policies. And it's very hard for any agency to do, especially for a small agency with limited amount of resources. And our agency, the first week of November, when we go to the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs Conference, we are going to get our accreditation.
Congratulations.
We're on track for that. And I am very excited. It was a lot of hard work for a lot of people involved in the process, especially our undersheriff, Mike Harrison, and our chief civil deputy, Kim Ott. They put a lot of work in the background that people don't see into this process. I'm very proud to say that we are going to be one of the accredited agencies in our state.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
So my last question is just, what's one thing that you really love about your job?
There's so many things I love about the job.
You could pick two if you wanted to. But at least one.
I really love to connect with people on a personal level when I'm on duty, when I'm wearing this uniform.
Yeah.
The message I want to put out, I see in society nowadays, everybody's talking about unity. Everybody's talking about working together. And I agree, we should. But the follow-up sentences are separating everybody, left and right, law enforcement and community. And what I want people to know is it's not y'all and us and y'all. It's us.
Yeah.
We don't vote people in to do cop work. We are human beings like everybody else in this community. We're community members. We have a different job. Sometimes people don't like some of the things that we are bound by our rule book, the laws of the Washington, to do. However, this is our job. And so when I'm on duty, I try to have the same conversations I'm going to have off duty, on duty. I'm not any better than anybody else. I just have this position.
Right.
That's it. That's what I want people to know. And I really love connecting with the youth. At the risk, my wife is probably going to cringe and laugh when I say this, but at the risk of sounding like an 80s, a corny 80s song, the children are our future. They really are. I'm not getting younger.
Right.
I can't do this till I'm 100 unless they perfect, turning me into the bionic man.
That's right.
But I love connecting with the youth because I want them to understand we are not the enemy. We're part of the community like you. You can do whatever you want to do in your life if you have the determination and the work ethic to do it.
Right.
We need people to come take not just law enforcement's place, take all of our places. Someone has to be here to fill our shoes when we're done.
Yeah.
And that's what I want them to know.
Yeah. And these days there seems to be so much, especially in the last 4 years, I would assume, especially for young people, just like this darkness of like, oh, all this is going on, and a sense of hopelessness. And I hear that. It's like, and what I hear you saying is connect with them, saying, no, there is hope. You have value. You can do what you want to do. Let's make a whole connection thing. Let's be together to move forward.
Right.
All that is in there.
And I would love for the opportunity to sit, not just talk and do motivational speaking for officers on, hey, this is how I was and this is how I've changed.
Right. Yeah.
And this is how much happier I am now in life. But for young people too, because I want them to understand, while I totally understand that college is very important. It can get you places. It opens doors, right? That may not be open if you didn't go to college. Right. But I want to share my experience with young people to say, I understand that not everybody's a college person, but there's other things you can do and still be very successful in life. I am very proud of the fact that for a long time in life, I would hear, my wife would hear, you're not going to succeed. You didn't go to college. You got married too young. We've been married 32 years, and she is wonderful. She's the best person on the planet. But I know I'm biased in that statement. And I went into the Army as an enlisted person, nothing.
Right.
And I managed to have a very successful career in another agency in a large city and get a retirement. I managed to come to my vacation spot and get to do this job longer than I thought I would have done it in Houston. And you can be successful. I'm standing right here as proof you can do this. You just have to want it.
Yeah.
And I really want the kids to have that drive, no matter what it is they do, whether it's becoming law enforcement officers one day or whatever profession they want to enter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of different options that I don't. This is me talking now, right? Yes. I don't think they're aware of. I don't think they're emphasized enough. All the trades,
correct,
like law enforcement, firefighter. There's lots of things you can do that you don't need a college path to get to.
Yes.
And some people, that's what you need. Great. Awesome. Pursue that. But don't feel less than.
Correct.
Because you're pursuing this path, when I think sometimes that gets communicated, maybe not intentionally.
Right.
And I agree with you that there are so many paths for people to take to have a great life, to use their skills that are in a bunch of different directions. And what I hear you is you're trying to encourage that as well and say, hey, I'm the living proof that I didn't go to college yet. I've achieved my dreams. I've gotten to where I've gotten, and you can do it too.
And there's not one definition for success or what's successful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like one of my favorite sayings is, different doesn't mean wrong. Different just means different.
Yeah.
They just do a different job, but it's just as important.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just in a different area. Yeah. Can I throw in one plug for something I forgot?
You go right ahead.
Our dispatch center is amazing. I worked as a supervisor in the 4th largest city in the nation in dispatch. And I'm telling you what, this group right here are some of the best group of people I've met and some of the best group of dispatchers I've met. And our dispatchers aren't just dispatching for law enforcement. Our dispatchers are dispatching for law enforcement on the big 3 islands.
Mm-hmm.
They're dispatching for all the EMS and fire in the county. They're dispatching life flight and any sort of air transport that involves getting people off island with medical emergencies. They do monitor the plane traffic coming in and out of the airports, and they answer our business line besides the 911 line and man the front window
And the walk, the whole thing.
And yeah, they are experts at multitasking, and they do a wonderful job. And I just wanted to make sure that I got that in today.
Well, kudos to dispatch. Awesome. It's
Yes.
good to share. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate
Thank you,
being
Jeff.
able to interview and have a great conversation.
Thank you.
So just welcome to the Pie of Genius podcast. You guys, if you want to find out more about what the department does, I'm sure you have to talk to people if they come by or
Yes.
call, or I'm not sure how can they get a hold of you if they want to have a.
I have multiple numbers.
Multiple numbers.
If it's not an emergency, please don't dial 911 just to chat with me. But if you stop me in town or come in, I'm always willing to chat. And we're hoping to get another Coffee with a Cop event on the Big Islands.
Okay.
Coming up here, probably in November.
All right.
And hopefully integrate one of those events with like Coco with the kids too, and get some of our young people out.
Okay. Excellent. So be on the lookout for another Coffee with Cops coming up. Until next time, you guys have a great day. This is Jeff with Pie of Genius. Have a great day. Bye-bye.